Hey guys, welcome to Twisted Tragedies, where we follow all the twists and turns wherever they lead. I am your host, Elise, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. But currently, right now, the FBI and the authorities are having a press conference on the guy that they caught that shot Charlie Kirk. And again, I'll prerequisite with this with my channel doesn't do any politics usually. But because this affects our country and because this affects the possibility that there could be other violence, I think it's important to cover. And they're going to take questions from the FBI. So I really want to see what questions are asked and how the FBI responds, because I mean, we're the Epstein files, I'm just saying. We're still waiting on those. And so I want to see what questions are asked and if they answered or if they sort of, the FBI sort of roundabouts it. And they're going to ask Kash Patel specifically a Q&A. So I'm going to pop that on real quick, but I have a lot of other stuff to go over. So I'm hoping this isn't super long. I mean, it's been going already for a few minutes. More than a few minutes, so let's check in on it.
It's going to get much, much worse. But see, these are choices that we can make. History will dictate if this is a turning point for our country. But every single one of us gets to choose right now if this is a turning point for us. We get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal,
not over here.
conservative, MAGA,
this goes live.
All of us, so. please, please.
I'm a little behind on it, but so it must have ended a few minutes ago. But
what Charlie taught me. I'll just conclude
it's
with
been running on my screen, so I must have been a little behind when I started it.
A friend and author EVOLUT who was asked if he was optimistic about our country, and he said, "I'm not optimistic." He said, "I hate optimism." God, that sounds bad. But
I love optimism.
He said, "Optimism is a vice. It's this idea that good things are just going to happen." He said, "In the history of the world, good things have never just happened."
Why not? Of course they have.
He says, "I'm not optimistic, but I am hopeful. And hope is the virtue that sits between the vices of optimism and pessimism. Hope is the idea that good things are going to happen because we can make them so." I still believe in our country. And I know Charlie Kirk believed in our country. I still believe that there is more good among us than evil. And I still believe that we can change the course of history. I'm hopeful because Americans can make it so. Ladies and gentlemen, we're happy to answer any questions you might have.
Governor, can you please speak to whether the suspect is speaking with authorities and his demeanor, Tyler Robinson?
Hey, Grave.
I cannot speak to that.
We're going to do some walking tall today after the press conference is over. Which, by the way, Grave here actually is the one who alerted me to it, which I appreciate.
Well, I will leave that up to you to interpret what those engravings mean. I think the clearest one that says "catch fascist," there's not, and by the way, that's like catch like a ball, catch this. I think that speaks for itself.
Governor, so you talked about this level of hatred that this person expressed at a dinner. Beyond that, is there anything in your view that you've discovered that may have radicalized or changed him to prompt him to commit such a horrific act?
There's nothing more that we can share at this time.
Governor, you indicated that he had been communicating with a friend on Discord about the gun. Do you
where he left it,
anymore
which is weird.
We do not have
What the
information that
hell?
would lead to any additional arrests.
Do you believe he acted alone?
Yes, but the investigation is ongoing.
I don't know if I believe that. But
Family, what they have to say about the suspect?
How he came into custody of police and where he is right now with drugs?
Yes, so
Yeah,
right now,
my bad.
Mr. Robinson has been
It
booked
said live when I
into Utah
clicked on
County Jail. You heard the president this morning report that he was taken into custody, that his family and a friend helped to deliver him into custody of law enforcement in Washington County. Those of you that don't know where Washington County is, it is the southwesternmost part of the state of Utah. It's about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here, where we are right now, and that's where he lived and where they turned him.
Is he talking
More about what the family is saying about
I can't share any more than what I've already shared.
Is he talking about
Governor, do you
22.
know how he got back to Washington County?
Tyler Robinson?
So
Robinson was last name?
how we obtained the gun was found.
No, how the
was found
shooter obtained the gun and how the shooter then was able to get back to Washington.
So I don't have much more details on that. We do know that he drove. We had his car here on campus, and then we had his car going south back to the St. George. It's actually the city of Washington in Washington County.
Is he talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I'm sorry.
Did the suspect plan to carry out any other attacks?
We don't have any information that
Are you
released.
going to be releasing the mugshot?
Yes, in fact, it was just released.
Is he
Yes.
talking with authorities and did he discuss a motive?
I can't answer that right now.
Can you clarify?
You've
Okay.
spoken very eloquently about trying to reunite this country. Do you feel that this is a watershed in American history?
I absolutely believe that this is a watershed in American history. Yes. The question is what kind of watershed, and that chapter remains to be written. Is this the end of a dark chapter in our history, or the beginning of a darker chapter in our history? Look. I mean, if you look at true political assassinations in this country of someone of this stature, this feels a lot like the late '60s. And having one so gruesomely displayed on camera in all of our hands and in all of our pockets, we are not wired as human beings biologically, historically. We have not evolved in a way that we are capable of processing those types of violent imagery. And by the way, we've seen another one with a gruesome stabbing very recently that went viral. This is not good for us. It is not good to consume. Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community.
Touch grass.
That is
Log
happening.
off.
And it's happening organically right now. I had a friend in a small city in Utah who said, we're
Say it
getting
loud for the people
together.
in the back, bud.
Republicans and Democrats in my little town are getting together to have a discussion tonight, last night, just to find a way to find their better angels. So yes, this
I have the
could
mugshot
be.
ready to show.
I mean,
people.
again, you have to go back to JFK to have seen a video live of something like this happening. I wasn't born until 1975, but I know that things were really dark in the late 60s. Sorry to some of you. I know some of you were there. This is our moment. Do we escalate or do we find an off ramp? And again, it's a choice. It's a choice, and every one of us gets to make that choice. Two more questions right here.
Could we clarify that the release of those enhanced images at 8 p.m., the timeline that Director Patel gave us, led to the arrest at 10 p.m.? Is there a direct connection between those two events?
I cannot comment if there is a direct connection or not, but all I can say is that that through some process, the family came to know that this had happened.
One more thing, Governor. Could you just clarify the clothing issue
22?
you mentioned earlier? Was
Yeah.
he changing outfits?
Correct.
Could you just clarify this?
Yes. So when he's first spotted on campus, he has different clothing on, and then he changes clothing on the roof, and then changed back into that clothing at some point, so that when he was apprehended, when he was arrested,
How do
the
you
clothing
not
matched the clothing he had
see
on
someone
before
laying
the
on a
shooting
roof, bro?
here at UVU.
Like, how
Last
many times are
question
you gonna
here.
make that mistake?
The suspect was from Utah. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about where and was he a student here at this university? And is there any history of mental illness?
Yeah. So I don't have any information on the mental illness part. He was not a student here
No, I'm
at
only doing the press
UVU.
conference. I wanted to see what
He
questions were
was
for the
living
FBI and how the FBI
and had
answered
lived
them.
for a
Like, I wanted
long
to see if
time
they
with
sort of
his family
answering any
in
questions,
Washington.
or if
Okay,
Mel was going to answer
Thank
them.
you, everyone, for your great
If
work
not,
in getting this
I guess
information
that's
out. I would just say, process-wise, this may be important. I know many of you aren't
That's
familiar with the process in Utah. I think it's important that you understand that.
So nonetheless, they arrested someone. And like, if you're wondering why I'm even bothering with this content, you go back to like the very beginning of the show where I say, like, sometimes it's like, I don't do politics. There's a reason why I don't do politics in general. But this specifically, it, I think the governor actually said it in a pretty good way, which is like, this is about our country, right? Like, is this going to cause violence to escalate? And I hope fucking not, right? Like, I really hope not. Violence solves absolutely fucking nothing. And again, I don't have to agree with the politics of any of these people. I can agree, I can disagree. It's not about who I like or who I don't like, or who I agree with on politics and who I don't. For me, this is more about like what's going to happen next in our country, because we're living in a pretty fucking scary time at the moment. And I have 3 daughters, and to think about what I'm leaving my kids in this world one day with scares the fuck out of me. It scares the ever loving effing shit out of me when I'm leaving my kids in this world for. And let's be clear here once again, I don't in any shape or form say that I agree with any of these people's politics. I just think it's important that we have a conversation. Can we tone down the violence? I just feel like if we don't say it as creators, we're also doing a disservice to not say, hey, guys, let's, try to get some peace, right? Let's try to not harm one another because we don't agree with one another. It's about basic humanity, really. I mean, it's a hard topic, but what kind of person would I be if I just ignored it and was like, let the chips fall where they may? I'm just not the kind of person to not point out that violence isn't the answer. You don't have to like the guy. You can hate the guy for all I care. I could give a shit one way or another whether you liked the guy or not. But, for me, it's more what happens in this moment after this. Like, this kid was 22 years old. He threw his life away. For what? You took a human life. I just can't fathom it, because obviously I would never do such a thing. So it just blows my mind how some psychopath, and this goes for all psychopaths, how all psychopaths, serial killers, all these people, how can they just easily take a human life and think nothing of it? Like, what went wrong in this kid's brain that he thought taking a life was the answer to anything? It's unfortunate. In other news, Brian Walsh, the accused murderer of his wife, who went missing right after New Year's in Hingham, got stabbed in the Dedham jail last night. So if you don't know who Brian Walsh is, I shall show you. But he was stabbed in jail. Hold on, I'll give you a picture of the creepazoid Brian Walsh. He has been released. He didn't die or anything. He's okay. He was treated at Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital and released back into custody already. But it's unfortunate. I hate when they do this. And I'm like trying to get the picture up for you guys, and they take the picture. As soon as you click on it, the picture goes bye-bye. Like, come on, man. All right, here we go. So this one down. Hold on. So this is Brian Walsh. So yeah, he was stabbed in the Dedham House of Corrections in the jail last night. And I still wondering why they brought him to Beth Israel Deaconess from Dedham. I don't know if that was a safety protocol. I have no idea why they would have brought him to Beth Israel, but they brought him to Beth Israel Deaconess after he was stabbed. And as of right now, he's already been released back into custody. So he's back in the jail or in a jail. They did not say whether they brought him back to Dedham or they moved him, which is a question I would love to know the answer to. Like, did you bring him back to Dedham House of Corrections or did you move him to a different jail at this point? We don't know. But so that happened last night. I wonder who he pissed off in that jail. I mean, the guy is a smug prick from what I'm told. So I have sources in all different places, and for quite some time now, my sources have been telling me that in jail, he had been like super quiet, not really, mingling too much for a while. And then I think he got a little comfortable. And so I've been told that he started sort of mingling a little more in the ways that he could, because he's sort of limited in the ways that he can mingle, really. You can send like notes and there's ways to talk to other inmates even when you're locked in your cell by yourself. And so at first, I guess he just didn't really communicate with anybody for any reason, really. Just kind of kept to himself. And then sort of after a while, he did. So I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the stabbing. Or did he just owe somebody money after he played a card game and lost? I don't know. Does he owe somebody some soups from Canteen? I don't know. Who freaking knows at this point? So the big story of the show, okay, is show of hands in the chat. How many of you have ever watched the movie Walking Tall? And I mean either version. Either version, the older version in the 70s or the rock version. How many of you have seen that movie about the sheriff? And let me remind you, if you don't remember it, it was about a sheriff whose wife had been murdered, and sort of the movie sort of goes like that inspires him to get rid of all the corruption in his town and fight against the corruption in his town, even running for sheriff, becoming sheriff, the whole shebang, right? So here's the sad part about all of this is the good old sheriff here, after he got so much media attention after sort of doing his thing, and his wife's murder being a I guess a reason. That's the way they framed it, like in the movies, was like a reason that he decided to fight against corruption and be sheriff, blah 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 blah. Okay, well, here's the thing. There's two movies about this story. One is from the 70s. I think it's like 73 or 5, somewhere around there. It was released. And then there's another one called Walking Tall that The Rock is the sheriff in, right? He plays the sheriff in that one. I believe, oh God, who's in the one? I think, let me see. I'll show you guys the trailer of the one, the older, not the newer one.
Stand up.
Do it.
Sheriff, are you home? Fight back. Walk tall.
Recent evidence in this case. Hold on, let me pull this back up here. Recent evidence. Yeah, it was a long time ago. It was a very long time ago, right? But recent evidence in this case has been brought to light, and the good old sheriff here may have murdered his own wife and framed it as a hit or a drive-by or whatever. So, okay, it's real sad because once again, 2 movies are inspired by this story. All right, and so new evidence suggests that the Tennessee sheriff, who inspired Walking Tall, murdered his own wife. Okay, unfortunately. So this article here says bombshell new evidence reveals that legendary sheriff Buford. Oh God, I don't want to mingle his last name. So let's just say the sheriff. The sheriff, the heroic crime-fighting lawman played by Joe Don Baker in the hit 1973 flick Walking Tall, was an abusive murderer who killed his wife Pauline and faked her death as a drive-by ambush. The shocking finding came as the murderous attack was recently reviewed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, which regularly looks at unsolved cold cases such as Pauline's death on August 12, 1967. This is the cinematic release of the one from this picture is from the one from 1973. So it says Buford, who died at 36 in a 1974 car crash, claimed he got an early morning call of a disturbance and Pauline asked to ride along. Just after passing New Hope Methodist Church, the iconic McNairy County Sheriff claimed a car pulled alongside and fired inside the vehicle, killing Pauline and wounding Buford, who was hospitalized for 18 days and underwent several surgeries. But in the case review, Dr. Michael Revell, an emergency medicine physician and medical examiner, concluded from crime scene photos that Pauline was shot outside the car, not inside, as Buford claimed. Revell says Pauline's head injuries didn't match photos of the interior of the car, and the blood splatter was on the outside of the vehicle, not inside. He also found that Buford's gunshot wound on his cheek was from close contact and likely self-inflicted and not a slug fired at a distance. Also, Pauline's autopsy showed she'd previously suffered a broken nose, and from what people who knew her at the time had said, she was a victim of domestic violence. Oh boy. This case is not about tearing down a legend. It's about giving dignity and closure to Pauline and her family and ensuring that the truth is not buried with time, said the district attorney, Mark Davidson. That's a picture of Pauline and the DA, Mark Davidson. Truth matters, justice matters, even 58 years later. Pauline deserves both. Pauline's younger brother, Griffin Mullins, says the new evidence has given him closure. He described Pauline as just a sweet person and loved her with all my heart. That's really sad because, again, people in that area think of the guy as some sort of, legend, right? 2004. Oh my God. So 2004 is the year I had my oldest child. So that's how long ago that was. My oldest child will be 21 this year. So, the guy died before he was even 40 in a car accident. But, people in that area, from the stories that have been told about him, think the sheriff is, a legend. So it's unfortunate that this is sort of coming to light now about the murder of his wife, because it kind of puts that light in a darker place that the man wasn't a legend. He covered up murdering his wife. Now, again, this is new information coming from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Sad nonetheless, but so many people have seen those movies, right? That you can imagine people all over the country think the guy is, this great, amazing, corruption fighting guy, It's crazy. It's crazy. Is this real life? So is this like a real, this is real, like, serious? This can't be a real comment in real life. It just can't be. Sorry, not sorry. He has more time in jail because he committed crimes. Okay. And I don't know why you would even make that comment, considering no jail time has been decided for the shooter yet. Seems a little early to be talking about how, the sewer turtle has more time. Neither one of those people have been sentenced yet. And there was no autopsy performed in 1967. Her body was exhumed in 2003 or around there. Interesting, too, that they exhumed it in 2003 when that movie came out in 2004. So I'm guessing they were filming it in 2003 at some point, right? And they still went with the theory that it was some sort of drive-by shooting. So I wonder if they, knew that something was a little shady, even as they made that movie. That wouldn't surprise me if they put all that money into it and they were like, oh, no, we want a good story, That would not surprise me, not in the least bit. But hey, what do I know? It's amazing to me. But again, there's all these people all over the country that think that the good sheriff was this amazing guy. Now, can you imagine how many people have to rethink that? He was actually covering up the murder of his wife, Oh, 2023. Okay. That makes more sense. That makes more sense to me. Sure does, Frank. You are 100% right on that. Personal, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of corruption out there. We know this, right? It's just sad, right? Because the good old sheriff was out there trying to get rid of corruption. If he was the corruption, that's kind of a problem, right? Make no mistake about it, though. There are many people in this world that act like they're doing a service to people by outing people and shaming and blaming people, when in reality, what they're really hiding is the shit that they did. And I find it an ironic story that this sort of information is coming to light now about the good sheriff, because it has sort of a parallel to people right now, to people right this very second, that are constantly pointing at everyone else so that you don't in turn look at them. And what boggles my mind the most is that there's so many people that still buy the BS. There are so many people that cannot see that they're being duped, that they're being lied to, that these people that claim that they're, doing some service of blaming and shaming horrible, quote, awful people when they are in fact the awful people. It's amazing to me. The hypocrisy in this world is probably at the highest I've ever seen it since I've been alive. Okay, the amount of hypocrites is stunning. And the amount of hypocrites so you guys want to hear a funny story? I'll give you guys a funny story, right? Here's a good one for you. 2 days ago, I'm checking my messages on Twitter, right? Checking my messages on Twitter. I'm checking my, notifications, and I get a bunch of notifications that all these, it's like six new people were following me. So I check each and every one of their profiles because, well, oftentimes I will have trolls that follow me just to talk shit or be vile. And so to root those people out, I will look at their profile, I will look at who they're following, and I will look at their replies. It's not so much who they're following, because you could follow just to want to see what someone's going to say. That's why I couple it with looking at the replies. But if you go into their replies and most of what they say is just vitriol and anger, and they're just hateful people, they get an insta block. I don't even have to ever acknowledge them in any way other than block, right? Or if I see someone who is saying something really nasty to someone who I'm friends with on social media, I will just block that person, because eventually, if they're so comfortable saying it to the person that I care about and they're that angry and unhinged, the same is going to be said for anyone else that they engage with that they don't agree with, right? So to cut that out, I just block them before I ever have to have that toxic interaction, right? So, ooh, did you get pictures? See, you know me. I'm like a history buff. I love I love old-timey history and like interesting sort of tidbits like that. I'm a nerd, okay? I like that kind of stuff. But so here's the thing. I get this screenshot. I blocked this lady after seeing that she's following me and looking like I always do. And I'm like, you know what? Nope. Not dealing with someone like that. Abso-freaking-lutely not. Block, right? Now, usually when you're blocked, you kind of get the hint, right? This person does not want to interact with me. This lady didn't get the hint, y'all. She didn't get it. She did not get the goddamn hint. So I have a friend who sends me a screenshot, right? And I look at the screenshot and it's this woman, right? Talking about how she doesn't care that I blocked her. And who the hell do I think I am? Because she doesn't even care that I blocked her. But why would I block somebody I've never interacted with? How adult is that? It's called having boundaries, lady. Okay? It's about having boundaries. Boundaries. Okay? So have these boundaries, right? These boundaries where I will not associate or have contact with someone I think is just a shitty human being. You know what I mean? Oh my God, I love her. I love her. You tell your wife she's a G. I freaking love her. I have boundaries, right? And as an adult, I'm allowed to have those. And because of the amount of trolling that people do to me, I have to have those boundaries, right? And so I oftentimes will block if I need to, and I see somebody's being nasty to someone else, they're going to be nasty with me. I don't deal with those types of people. So, like I said, I get this screenshot of this lady. Now she's on a different social media platform complaining about how she doesn't even care and who do I think I am, right? Within minutes of that, okay, within minutes of that, she decides she's going to friend request me on Facebook. Now, she's already been blocked on X, okay? Already been blocked on X. Why in the actual F would you friend request me on Facebook when you have been blocked on X? Does that make any logical sense at all to anybody on planet Earth? Like if someone blocks you on one social media platform, do you think it's like a bright idea to just go and, find them on another platform? Like that doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. So then I'm checking my spam messages and she sends a message, which automatically goes to my spam accounts because, well, you're not my friend on Facebook, right? So, yeah, I did. Yep, I did. So she sends me a message about how I should have not blocked her and who do I think I am, and she doesn't even care. But she needed to personally say something, like she clearly cares. So that just gets her an insta block on Facebook and a laugh from me. Then I get another screenshot, right? I get another screenshot. Of another person. A different person sees this lady complaining in a different place about the exact same thing. Like, lady, for someone who, quote, doesn't care, you seem to care an awful lot that you were blocked. And you can't quite figure out why it is that you were. It's called boundaries. I don't deal with angry, hateful, vile, disgusting people that have nothing better to do but tear down other people who harass, intimidate, call names. I will not engage with people like that. Period. No ifs, ands, or fucking buts about it. I will not. So if you're blocked, there's a damn reason. The fact that you couldn't take a hint when you're blocked on X to go all the way over to Facebook and think you weren't just going to get a block there is such a lack of self-awareness, and just shows me that the original block you got was exactly what should have been done. Oh my God. Oh, well, it doesn't give you a chance to reply. What is she replying to? There's nothing to reply to. There's no interaction to reply to it. That was her complaint, is that she can't reply because she's blocked, but there was nothing for her to reply to. There was no interaction. She was having an interaction with other people that was gross, but no interaction with me. So you're complaining about not being able to reply to an interaction that never happened. You're complaining that adults have like an actual boundary that you don't like. That's interesting to me. Pretty interesting that that's what you want to complain about. I mean, hey, to each his own, but did you not get the hint? Did you not get the hint? If you were blocked from my content, from me, so I don't have to deal with someone like you who's hateful and angry and mean, why would you think that that isn't, quote, adult? It is adult. Exactly why you got blocked. Because you're hateful and you're mean and you're angry. Maybe you need help with that. I can, give you a therapist you can talk to about that if you want. I mean, I can definitely refer you to the correct places if you want. But the fact that you question why someone does not want to engage with someone who's just name calling and bashing other people on the internet is amazing to me. I don't have time for hateful, angry people. Therefore, I do not engage with hateful, angry people. It's amazing to me that that even has to be a thing that they don't understand. How do you not understand why you're blocked? And the fact that you didn't take the hint, right? You didn't take the hint when you got blocked on X, so you decided to move over to a different platform. It just absolutely tells somebody that, hey, you definitely did the right thing here, because this person is clearly not mentally well, right? Exactly. It makes it very clear that the person does not want to engage with you. So why would you go to another platform to find them? Also, people don't seem to realize that actually doing that is actually grounds for cyber stalking, and you can be charged, because a block makes it very abundantly clear that someone does not want to engage with you at all. Like, that's not really a hard one to sort of figure out. Well, at least you would think it wouldn't be a hard thing to figure out. Apparently it is. Apparently it is a hard thing for them to figure out. It's unfortunate, but this is my point, right? Boundaries. Have boundaries. Have freaking boundaries. Do not, feel like you have to engage with someone if they're not someone you want to engage with. I am never going to probably, make every person happy, right? Probably never. And it's unfortunate. I try my best to sort of make sure that everyone feels happy and that everyone feels like they can belong to the community. And it's unfortunate when people don't feel like they're part of the community, or they feel like, they can't have a conversation, or they're going to be attacked. And that's a hard thing to juggle when you're a creator. It's a hard thing because you're never going to everyone isn't going to be happy all the time, no matter what you do. And I try my best to make sure that, people who have opinions that might not match someone else's, that they're allowed to express those opinions, because I don't always say the popular thing, right? I say what I feel or what I believe. Is that, it's, again, not always going to be the popular thing, right? So, but lately it's been hard. I have a Discord, and it's really hard to, make sure that everyone else feels like it's a safe space, because then people get into arguments, and it's difficult, right? It's difficult. It's absolutely difficult. So, I love my community. I love each and every one of you. But guys, try to make it a little easier on me. Make it a little easier on me. If there's something you guys are probably not going to agree on, try to agree to disagree, right? I don't want to have to time out anybody. I don't want to bounce anybody. I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to have to, right? But there has to be a line of what's right and what's wrong. And if you're sort of being hostile or volatile, like it's getting to that point. So I ask, please don't make it hard for me, guys. Please. I love all of you. Please do not make it difficult for me. If you can't agree on something and it's going to be a full-on attack on the person you don't agree with, just agree to disagree and move on to a different subject. Let's try to stick to the things that people aren't going to fight and argue over. And I knew even bringing up anything that had to do with Kirk was going to be a little, difficult, but I didn't bring it up for the politics, because as you guys know, I don't do politics for a reason, because people argue and fight, and there's no reason for people to argue and fight. It doesn't make any sense for people to argue and fight. So I just ask that if there's something you're not going to agree with someone on, that you don't go into attacks. You just agree to disagree. I think more than anything, a lot of people were kind of just saying, like, it's like humanity to say, I'm sorry this happened to your family and your small children, and that your family had to watch this happen. I don't have to agree with the politics of anybody to be a compassionate, humane person that says, hey, this is violence and it's awful and it shouldn't happen, right? That's not political. Saying condolences isn't political. It doesn't magically make it political because the person who passed was a political figure. I just want to have common decency, right? And common decency is to say, hey, I'm sorry that happened. And hopefully this doesn't cause more anger and hate in our country, because that is the last goddamn thing this country needs, is more hate and more anger. It just is the last thing that we need. Last freaking thing on planet Earth that we need. Oh yeah, I'm not a church person. Ooh, good. I gotta look at it. Yeah, well, that's the thing, is people don't seem to realize, like, yes, freedom of speech is a freedom, but that doesn't mean that there aren't consequences to your freedom of speech. I mean, look at what the sewer turtle's dealing with. He's got speech, all right, but some things are not freedom of speech. There are consequences, and what he did was harass people, so that the consequences of your free speech don't protect you from consequence. There are consequences. It doesn't protect you from not having consequences if your speech is over the line. And the sewer turtle's speech is not just speech. It was harassment. It's intimidation. He also threw in some blackmail and threats for good measure, So, hey, I watched the press conference too. Well, that's the thing. I mean, I don't. Again, I don't do Oh, I love that, dude. Your wife is such a G, Grave. I wish I could show you guys this now, but I can't because it's on my Facebook. But oh my God, she's such a G. I love that. I love that. She's the best. I just want everybody to have that same respect, right? That respect that I have towards all of you, I would appreciate if y'all had towards me, right? If you don't agree on something, you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to agree on it. That's okay. But let's try not to fight one another just because you don't agree. Because the hate and the anger that we already have in this country does not need any more from us online people. By the way, if y'all want to like change your hair color real quick, ladies, because obviously the men aren't going to do this. Clip-ins, everyone, clip-ins, okay? Clip-ins. I had pink one in the other day. This one's just like not cooperating because the hair keeps getting stuck under the clip. This one piece of hair keeps getting stuck under the clip, so it's like driving me freaking insane. But clip-ins, y'all, clip-ins if y'all want to change the color of your hair. And because my hair is dark and it's black, I was like, you know what? Let's throw a little, these clip-ins have like a blondish, almost grayish sort of color in between. It's like black and like a blondish, grayish, and it's supposed to be like crimpy, a little bit crimpy. And my hair's not crimpy. My hair is like, right now it's straight underneath. Like everything is straight. My hair is flatter than a board, straight underneath here. As y'all can see, straight. But the clip-ins are wavy. Yes, thank you. Exactly. That's perfect. No more gas on the already blazing freaking fire, right? Like that's the thing. Like I can't always be on Discord. I have amazing mods for that, but I don't want anybody to feel like they need to leave the community ever, because I respect and love each and every one of you. And I think, as adults, we need to know where that limit comes in, where it's like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to be able to respectfully disagree, argue this, debate it. So I'm just going to agree to disagree and step away. I don't know much about the guy other than some of his thoughts on certain things. And again, you don't have to agree with him in any capacity. You don't have to agree with the guy at all. But I think what we should be able to agree with is his children should not have watched what they saw. And his wife. That's just horrific and horrible, and I don't wish that on anybody ever. I've seen a lot of shitty things in my life. I've been through a lot of horrific things that no one should ever have to go through. And, I think it gives me a little more insight into having more empathy and sympathy than maybe other people do. But what I can tell you is life's too fucking short. Life is too short. It's too short to have hate and anger in your heart all the time and live like that. It's too short to hold grudges. And for the people that know me, know I'm not a person that just holds grudges. If anything taught me anything, my daughter's disease taught me that you don't know if you get another hour or another day on this earth. Right? So you should make the best of what you have. However that is. Right? My daughter did not ask to be born with a rare terminal illness. She did not ask to be in chronic pain 24/7. She did not ask to go blind from the disease. She did not ask to lose all of her hair from the disease. She did not ask to have to do IVIGs and chemo and a million other things to try to help her disease. She didn't ask to have her spine fused to her neck. She didn't ask for her fingers to be fused to the bone and her fingers be close to the palm. She did not ask for arthritis throughout her entire body in every single joint. She didn't ask for any of it. But yet, every day, that kid puts a smile on her face, and she laughs, and she giggles, and she makes the best out of a shitty deck of cards that she was dealt, not knowing if today's going to be the day that she does not wake up tomorrow. She hooks that G-tube up at night to get that G-tube feeding because her body burns off twice as many calories as what she can intake during the day. So that feed is supposed to help at night sort of push more nutrients into her body and stay. What we found was her body was not absorbing any of the nutrients. So now they've had to add this sort of thing to the feed that's helps her body absorb it, right? Now, she was also diagnosed recently with scleroderma, which is bad. It's pretty bad. And so that's a part of something else with her disease. And so that causes a lot of discomfort and pain. She recently had surgery on both arms, cut all the way from here to release the pain and pressure she was feeling. And they had to leave them open. So for 4 months, she had to have bandages over them, clean them, no wound vac. They didn't give a wound vac. They did not want to stitch it because of the scleroderma and her skin already being still stretched to the limit. But that kid doesn't sit there and complain all day. She doesn't talk about, how she might not get to do X, Y, or Z. She does whatever she wants, and she figures out a way to do it, even if she doesn't have the ability. Like, again, she used to love to read. She's now blind, so her only option is Audible, right? That's expensive. She can't see, so her head is also in the downward position, like this. So she cannot lift it. She can move left or right, but she cannot lift it up anymore. So her neck is fused to her spine. Now, in order for her to get the bone marrow transplant that she desperately needs to help with her very rare disease, and again, she's less than 200 people on planet Earth that have this disease, not the country, on planet Earth. And they can't do that bone marrow transplant until they do a very risky neck surgery because they cannot intubate someone whose head is in this position and stuck in this position. So I look at her and I think about every time something's shitty, right? Or I want to complain, or I'm having a bad day and I just want to curl up in a ball and stay there. She doesn't curl up in a ball and stay there. She gets up in pain every day and finds something to smile about, something to laugh about, something to make a joke about, right? She doesn't sit with hate in her heart constantly. She's a fierce advocate for herself and others. And I just think about how short life is and how I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. And if that was the case, did I spend my time being a hateful, angry person? Or did I spend my time trying to make this earth a better place for when I leave it? I can only do so much. I'm only one human, right? But did I do it is the question. When you pass, are you or is your family going to say they did X, Y, and Z? They made a difference, or they helped people, or, or did they just not bother? Were they just always angry and hateful and they held grudges? Like, sorry, but life is way too short to do all of that. Hold grudges and be hateful. I would rather live every day if it was my last. If I was a person that, had like millions of dollars, I'd probably take her on every trip imaginable. Like, she's never been on a cruise. She's flown a couple times, but she's never been on a cruise. She's never been to like Hawaii, think something like that. I'd probably do stuff like that with her. But we figure out things to do around here that are just as fun together. We like playing the murder mystery games together. There are like board games that actually come with like a mystery file that you can solve together. We love doing those. We find ways to, do stuff and have a blast doing it. Like Halloween, obviously, favorite holiday. She loves Halloween as well. So we're going to attempt to have a Halloween party. So that'll be really fun. But I can't live every day looking at all of the hate. The only way I feel comfortable living in this world and leaving my kids in it one day is to say, hey guys, please, please don't allow this hate to continue. Help someone out. If your neighbor, for instance, you got leftovers, go bring them to your neighbor. I'm sure after a long day of work, or if they're, disabled, that they would love a hot meal, right? Like, what's stopping you from just doing something nice for anyone? For anyone, literally anyone. I think it's like a domino effect, right? If you do something nice for someone, hopefully, they will take that and say, hey, I'm going to be like a domino and I'm going to do something for someone else because this person did it for me, right? I just hope that people can inspire one another to do better, because I feel like not just creators on YouTube, but social media people need to do better. They spit a lot of hate and a lot of anger. And it's like, instead of tweeting that you hate someone because you didn't agree with them, why not tweet about, how someone saved a puppy? Why not spend the time instead making a card for your neighbor for their birthday? It doesn't have to cost anything. It could be opening a door at the grocery store or holding it for the person behind you. It doesn't have to cost a penny. A single penny. There's a lot of things I can help with. Money is not one of them. Money is not one of them. I can help with a lot of people with a lot of different things, and I do. But money is not something I can help other people with. I can't even help myself with that. Never mind other people. But I do the best that I can to do what I can for anybody that comes to me for help. And I've never turned somebody away because of their beliefs. I've never said, hey, I don't agree with you on this thing, so no, I won't help you. Because it doesn't matter to me what they believe in. What matters is that they need the help. I could care less what they believe or don't believe if I disagree. And I'm sure there's many other things that we do agree with. And I ask people to try to find the things that you have in common instead of the things that you don't, right? Try to find things that you can agree on. Don't go looking for the things that you disagree on. Because I bet we could do a lot of good with the things that we agree on together. I bet we could come together in a way that made a difference on the things that we do agree on. And then we can have conversations about the things that we don't agree on. But let's work on some of the things that we do agree on to make this world a better freaking place to live in for everyone. Oh yeah, we've done luau's before. Those are fun. The Halloween party is going to be fun because everybody gets to dress in their costume, and we can make everybody can bring something Halloween themed food wise. And then we can also throw a bunch of stuff on the grill. So it's 100%, right? All of that, Jesse, all of it. Hey, Chris, all of it. I don't know what I'm going to be yet. Thought about maybe a pirate. I've already done Little Red Riding Hood, but I do love the Riding Hood costume. I thought about maybe Snow White. I don't know. We don't know yet. I don't know yet. Something cute. Costumes are so expensive these days, and I was like, oh, Jesus Cripes. Jesus Cripes. That's crazy. That is freaking crazy to me, how expensive the costumes are now. No, I'm gonna be cute. I never do scary. I was Mrs. Captain America one year, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. I was pretty much every, princess, or I thought about going as like a dark angel. Thought about that one, but the costume that they used to have for it, they don't have anymore. And the one that they do have, I'm just wouldn't be comfortable in. Oh, I DIY all the time. So I did a lot of DIY for my wedding, actually, matter of fact, and it came out beautiful. Nobody even knew that it was, we did it. We made them. We did a lot of that. So we're doing a lot of DIY here for the party. Like, we're making the tombstones, we're putting in the yard, and we're gonna set the tables up with all different Halloween related foods and snacks, which will be fun, and have a little area for the kids. I'm hoping to get one of those like blow up ring toss things with the witch hats for the cats, for the kids. I think they'll get a blast out of that. We do have cornhole boards, and as a matter of fact, they're just wooden, so you could really paint anything you want on them. I thought about painting those. That would be fun for a paint night before the end of October. We could do those as a project. And my neighbor across the street actually loves doing those kind of DIY projects with me, and she's really good at them too. So she's going to help me do some of this stuff. Yeah, you need a cricket. You need a cricket, girlie. You need a cricket. All right, hold on a second. Before I get to the next thing on our agenda here. Jesus, hold on. I got to back this thing up. Work with me here, computer. Work with me here. Yes, you do, girl. You do. You need a cricket. You really do. If you'd like to donate to the channel, because I didn't do this in the beginning. I forgot about it. Because the press conference was happening. There are one of a bunch of different ways you can do so. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that in a second. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Revolut. It's all in the description of the video as well. There's also a link posted in the chat where you can click on it and you can send any amount you want from credit or debit card. Anybody can. It works for multiple countries, not just the United States, and you can send any amount. So, and we very well appreciate it because we rely basically on what our donors give. And lately it's been sorry guys, we're buffering and I don't understand why. It hasn't done that to me in a while. Yeah, we don't have any trials going on right this second, any super duper like high profile trials. And when that happens, people tend to find out other things that they're watching or looking at. So, the donations aren't rolling in. So every little bit helps, and I appreciate any little bit. There was someone the other day that sent it was $3. It was Heather, after I wasn't live anymore, and I thanked her again yesterday because it doesn't matter how much it is. It is a help. It's always a help. And after I cover costs, the money goes to basic things like groceries, toilet paper, groceries, transportation, So every little bit always helps. It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $3, because I know there's creators that decide that if someone didn't, donate over $5, that, that's not enough. And I just can't imagine actually not being thankful for whatever amount someone chose to donate, because that's what they can afford to donate, right? And I'm thankful and I am grateful for every little bit that comes in. It's not often that I get a big one, and those, I am so grateful for when they do come in, because that helps me essentially pay for a bill realistically, or a grocery order. But every little penny adds up to that. And I can't imagine being a creator that just wouldn't be thankful and grateful to all of you for any amount that you donate, or whatever way you decide to show support. Some people choose to use the Amazon wish list or the other wish list to show their support, and that's okay too. I just actually added a bunch of stuff I'm going to need for like the Halloween party onto there for Halloween, or just like things that I would love to have in the house to decorate for Halloween, because it's sort of going to be like an indoor and outdoor party. If it gets really cold, we can all come indoor. If it's nice out, we can just use the whole yard. So, but I can't imagine just not being thankful or grateful and saying to my audience, like, oh, don't bother sending $5. That's not enough. If you're not going to send more than $5, don't bother. The fact that there are creators that say that with a straight face and people still give their support to them, it boggles my mind. I would never support someone who thought that they were entitled to that. And of course, like, it's everybody's choice. You support who you want to support. But I am grateful for every single one of you that, keep your monthly. Oh, speaking of which, I still have 5 memberships to give away this month, I think, because they give me 10 at the beginning of the month. I can't choose who they go to, guys. I wish that I could, because obviously those of you who are here all the time would get them. I have no control over who they go to, so we'll see. I'm going to send the other 5 right now. I sent 5 the other day, so they give me 10 I can send for free every month. YouTube does. So I appreciate all of you that keep your memberships per month, because that does help. And I appreciate every single person that is here. Oh, Casey got one. That's awesome. Brittany got one. Second Beach Gal got one. Monica got one. And Miss Jenny J. Well, that's most of you who do watch, and some of you watch in the bushes, but I'm so glad that it went to people who actually come and watch and like and subscribe. I love that for you all. I do wish, YouTube would give you the option of like allowing us to, be like, oh, this person's here all the time. Let's give this person one. You know what I mean? They don't give us that option, which pisses me off. And they only give you 10. So I gave away 5 the other day and 5 now. So okay. So here's the thing. They gave Karen Reed her car back. Okay. They gave her a car back. But her team, I believe, confirmed, even though we already knew this, at least I already knew this because I told you guys, that she is under investigation for witness intimidation. So they're not giving her phones back. Not giving it's goofy as fuck, dude. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, let me choose. It's my channel, right? Like, why would you want it to go to people who they're subscribed, but you haven't seen them in months or a year, I don't know. Danny, I wish I could give them to people who are here all the time, because I do know, even though there's some of you that don't comment, there's a ton of you that will like text me and be like, I'm here, I'm just in the bushes. Like, there's a lot of you that just listen from the bushes. Yeah, I mean, they ripped apart that car. So yeah, it's definitely a mess, because they ripped it apart, right? They took the infotainment system out and they ripped out all of the parts and pieces that they need, and they give it back to you like that. They don't put it back together and go, here, we fixed it for you, it's of cost. Like, they give it to you the way they took it apart. Like, here's all the pieces, here you go. Here's your car back. Sorry, I'm fixing this buffering issue. I don't know why it's doing it today, but I'll tell you, my internet was having an issue last night. So maybe, just maybe, that's why we're having sort of the issue today, because I had the issue with my internet sort of going out in the middle of the night last night. I woke up to go to the bathroom, and I like to have the noise of the TV on, and it was off. And so I turned it back on, and I'm like, what the? And it was like, internet connection not on. And it was like, I fell asleep for like an hour, woke back up again, got a drink of my water, tried again, and it said the same thing. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, what the actual freaking hell? And so I don't know. I don't know if they're working on the lines or what, but I same. So here's the thing. And I confirmed this a long time ago, that she was under investigation for witness intimidation. That I've already confirmed that with my sources a long time ago. Okay. But that's part of the reason why she won't touch the sewer turtle with a 10-foot pole. Only part of. The other part of it is she really can't stand him and doesn't trust him, and because he tried to blackmail her. The other part is because she's under investigation, and she's known it. She's known it for a while. She's under investigation for witness intimidation. She cannot have communication with him publicly, because they will just use that and say, as you can see, they're still communicating. So the fact alone is that, well, here's the thing. They went with a grand jury for a true bill on witness intimidation against both of them a while back, and they got no true bill. So looks like they're going at it again. So they could do that as many as they want. I love, somebody the other day was like, isn't that double jeopardy. And I'm like, oh my God, who tells you people these things? Or do you just come up with this? No, it is not double jeopardy. In order for something to actually apply to double jeopardy, you have to be charged with that crime, and then you have to have a resolution, which means you were either convicted or not convicted. Otherwise, it's not double jeopardy. Okay? A no true bill is not double jeopardy. They could do 5 grand juries and 5 grand juries say no, and they go for a 6th, and the 6th grand jury says yes. It's not double jeopardy. They can go as many times as they want in front of a grand jury. I think, to be honest, when they went the first time, it was premature, in my opinion. Premature because after that, there was a ton of evidence that came in, and they should have already, they should have waited. I don't know why they tried to do it so quickly, but they did, and I think that sort of it screwed them in a way, right? In my opinion, it freaking screwed them. It is what it is. But so she's being she's being investigated for witness intimidation. So they said, hey, here's your car back, but we're not going to give you your phone. Not going to give you your phone, your phones, your devices back. So because you're being investigated for witness intimidation. So yeah, so that's the other thing. When your house gets raided by the FBI or regular cops, and they just tear your house apart, they don't put everything back where it goes. They just leave it all there and say, here, we're done now. They damage stuff. They'll put things like a shoe on top of your TV. It's crazy. Yes, always welcome to the new members. Yeah, it's the witness intimidation. Listen, talk about allergies. My kiddo has some pretty bad allergies, and so she's been dealing with the itchy, watery eyes and the nose. And my allergies aren't as bad as hers, but it's been shitty with the rain and the weather, and the morning being cold and then getting hotter throughout the day. Believe me, I got you, girl. My allergies been going crazy too. You didn't know? I didn't know you didn't know. So I guess a lot of people did not know. But somebody actually tried to tell me the other day, no, he didn't try to blackmail her. I'm like, are you new to this? Are you new to this? He absolutely 100% got angry because she didn't save him a court seat and wasn't going to save him a court seat because her phone had already been taken for a second time now because of him. And she was pissed off that he didn't listen when she told him not to go to Lindsay's, and he did anyway, against the advice of her and his attorney. And he did what he did there, again, of his own fucking free will and volition. And because he then decided he was going to assert that he was arrested because he spoke up for Karen Reed, which is not why he was arrested. It has nothing to do with her. That pissed her off some more. And so he got mad, right? He got mad and threatened her and was like, I'll go to Tully. I can't. She owes me. She owes me this. She owes me this seat in the courtroom. How dare she not give me a court in the seat room, but she'll give everyone else a court? How dare she? And again, his little petty jealousy picked up, and he attempted to blackmail her. And Alan Jackson said, well, that's blackmail, but who's going to help us? The state police aren't going to help us. The Norfolk DA's office isn't going to help us. So I guess we can't do anything other than not take his threats, right? Now there's audio of someone, I won't say who, someone relaying this information to someone else and saying, I talked to Dave and Alan Jackson, Dave as in David Yannetti, and they said this is blackmail. So I want to make a statement publicly, but I don't want to say that he blackmailed her because that just gives people more ammo to go after him and her because it implicates her. So I'm just going to say that he, said he was going to Telly. So yeah, there's audio. Yeah, right. So again, apparently some of these people just don't know this. Either they just started following this or whatnot. Okay. The audio is real. It's authenticated. It's not fake. This all happened in real life. So he tried to blackmail her. Okay. One of the reasons why she doesn't trust him and doesn't want him anywhere around. The entitlement is pretty cringe. I think the problem, Danny, is that there are so many people that literally have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. They have no freaking idea at all. And then they say dumbass shit to me. And I'm like, you have no actual clue what's actually going on behind these closed doors. You just don't. It's like, you can argue with me all you want, but in the end, you're going to look dumb. It's like, listen, I, in good faith, warned them. I, in good faith, said, hey, guys, this is a bad person. He does bad shit when y'all aren't looking. And they're like, nope, we don't want to listen to you. He exposed you. He didn't expose anything, dude. He lied because of his own petty issues and because he doesn't want to tell you guys that he got mad. He got caught cheating on 4 women because I didn't lie for him. Well, that's the thing. If you're always pointing the finger at someone else and it's this person's bad, this person's bad, this one's bad, that person's bad, and they're all bad, they're all scammers, they're all crazy, it's all the same, like 5 things every time, right? That's what he's been doing for 10 plus years to keep the sort of eyes off him. It's all these people are bad and you can't listen to anything they say. They're all liars. They're all scammers. And they're just mad because I exposed them. Now, he admits in a private text message to someone, and I'm not going to say who, but he admits in a private text message to someone that this is his tactic that he's been using for a long time, which is you go after someone first, because if they have information you don't want out there, right? If you attack them first, it ruins their credibility and nobody will believe anything they say. He actually admits this in a private text to someone. Now, the police have those, okay? And what he doesn't seem to, and he keeps making the mistake over and over and over, not realizing that some of these people he's talking to decide to get a conscience at some point. And they're like, yeah, this is really bad, the shit he's doing and lying about. And they get a conscience. And then they send this evidence to people like me and others, okay? And then we have to go through the process of, trying to find the metadata and authenticating it and all that crap. But he damn well knows it's real, right? He damn well knows the police have it. But as he says in his private text messages to other people and private chats to other people, he thinks his followers are so stupid and dumb and ugly. This is what he says. This is his words, not mine. They're not intelligent. Have you seen them? They're all disgusting. They'll believe anything I say, and they'll still keep giving me money. They'll keep throwing money at me, even if I sit there and I yell at them, and they're going to never, not follow me. They're still going to follow me, and they're still going to watch me. And that's his ego speaking, right? And it's funny because if you go back to how long ago he's been saying that sort of thing, years ago, it's only gotten worse over time. And he's actually gotten bolder as to doing it on his shows where he will berate someone. And a couple of times, at least from the clips that I've been shown, in the end, he actually figures out that he was not understanding the context of what someone wrote in chat, and he's berating this person for no real reason. And he'll go, oh, I'm sorry. After he just said to them, you're a piece of crap. You know what? Kick them out there. You're a piece of crap. How dare you tell me not to talk about it? How dare you say blah, blah, blah to me? How dare you? You're a piece of crap and you're still going to send me money and you're still going to watch me and you're not going to unsubscribe. You're going to sit there. You're going to sit there and you're still going to watch me. And then realize that he's literally berating this person for no real reason because he wasn't reading who they were talking to in chat. He just took that one thing and went nuts. What he says in private is much worse than that. Much, much worse than that. And yet, he's right in a way. They still keep listening. They still keep throwing money at it. They still keep thinking that they're getting the truth or they're getting journalism or they're getting whatever they think they're getting, that they're actually not. And, well, that, yeah. Agreed. 100% agreed. And yes, true colors do bleed heavy, Yeah, I think the audio is, it's a bunch of places. I believe it's in more than one place as well. It's on X. It's on Facebook. I don't know if it's been taken off Facebook because Facebook's very takes a lot of things down that X doesn't. Yeah, exactly. And give me money while I cuss you out. Right. It's the same shit that he says over and over and over and over. And it's unfortunate because those people are supporting this behavior, and then they, attack him. There was a lady recently I saw commenting somewhere, and she was like, he berated me because I sent him $3, and he screamed and yelled at me and said $3 was not enough. publicly. What he did to Jen O'Donnell was awful, deplorable, disgusting. And I reached out to Jen because it was not okay. And I just let her know, like, you're not alone. And I might not agree with you on the Karen Reed case and might not agree with some of the things you said and did. But as a human to a human, mental health is not a friggin' joke. It's not a joke. It is not funny. And pushing someone to their ultimate limit to hide his own bad behavior, which is exactly what he did to Jen, is not acceptable. It's just not. And then using it our guise of, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's this, oh, she's that, all to hide the real reason that he attacked her, which is what he does to pretty much everyone. No, he didn't. And it wasn't right what he did to her. And many other people before and after that. And it continues on and on and on. And people will continue clapping like seals until it ultimately is somebody they care about or them themselves that he lies about and goes on and on and on about. And then they start to, I mean, even Donna told you guys the other day when she was on, this is somebody she supported and watched for 4 years. Never thought that he would be as brazen as he was in those personal messages, even though I've warned people numerous times. Oh, he would never threaten people in writing. He's not that stupid. And I just have to laugh, literally. And not laugh because it's funny, but laugh at how people can just blindly believe such crap, especially when there's a million pieces of evidence to show like that's just not the case at all. Real quick, I'm just going to check my emails because I don't want to forget anyone here. Hold on. Email. Oh, Grave says, for anything, and sends $100 donation. I appreciate you, Grave. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Let me see. Email. That was from a little while ago. I'm not getting, for some reason, I don't need to update my Cash App or Venmo, but for some reason they're not coming through unless I like open the apps for some reason. And they should be popping up on my notification screen, but I'm also like almost out of space on my phone. I gotta probably delete some stuff for sure because I am out of space on it. You know, I've thought about that as well. But I mean, look at what happens when people do. You know, it's unfortunate. It's sad. And I'm a big believer in karma. I'm a big believer in the universe course corrects if you are someone who puts bad karma into this world. If you are someone that puts bad karma into this world, I fully believe that bad karma will come for you. If you put good karma into this world, I also fully believe that the good karma will come to you. And sometimes it's not insta karma, which of course we wish it was, right? It's not. I wish it was insta karma. Sometimes it takes years for someone for that universe to course correct, because I honestly think it waits for the perfect time, right? But if you put shitty karma in this world, that's what you're gonna get back. Shitty karma, you know? It just is. The like button, yes, of course. There's 121 of you, even though there's 80, and that's a lot less than what we usually have, but it's also Friday, which I expected. Some people have the day off and they're out because it's a Friday and they take the Friday and the Monday off. But there's 83 of you on X. Some of you on X miss out on the option of, you know, the chat over here on YouTube, because I'm not just streaming from X. I don't know if some people just don't know that, or they prefer to watch on X. It's probably, you know, a little bit of both. But I'd appreciate it if those of you who do watch on X will at least come over and hit that like button on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. And of course it's free, yes. So yeah, they did. They gave Karen Reed her car back, but they're not giving her phones. They said, nope. I don't know. I think some people prefer because they're already on X to watch on X. Some people are trolls and can't comment on YouTube, so they can just watch from X and not really say anything. And some people I have that just watch from X and don't know how to comment. They watch from what we call the bushes because they'll text me and be like, I'm watching today, but from the bushes. I have a lot of people that watch from the bushes for various reasons. And some people like to just remain anonymous. They don't want other people from the FKR side to know that they enjoy the content. So they just tell me personally, you know, like, hey, watching from the bushes. Monday though, and I hope y'all will be kind. We are gonna have McDonough, Mr. Sean McDonough, on the show. We were gonna have him yesterday, but we totally space cadeted on the fact that it was 9/11 and Sean was traveling and we didn't do great planning. So we were like, you know what, to get more time, we decided to move it to Monday. So, but that's going to be fun because I think people underutilize Sean, right? They want to talk about the Karen Reed case um and not really much else with Sean. And you're underutilizing Sean's information and his ability to give pretty good insight on how a federal entity like the DEA operates and how the politics work and in like office of dealing with higher ups in the DEA and how certain things will change depending on who's at the top. And if you speak up, where did you get sent on shitty assignments? Like, and how does the DEA do X, Y, and Z? Sean did a lot with the DEA in Colombia, Peru. And there are some damn interesting stories that the world hasn't gotten to hear. I've heard, but that the world has not gotten to hear about the McDonough, as I like to call him sometimes. Some people don't understand my friendship with Sean, and that's okay. I don't ask them to try to understand. What I do ask is that you remain respectful to my guests, even if we have someone on that you don't agree with something, that you remain respectful, because I don't have to agree with everyone everything. Having those conversations sometimes is important, but that's not the conversation we're going to be having really. We're going to be really talking more about Sean's time in the DEA and in law enforcement. But you know, for me, I have great respect for Sean. He has always had my back since day one. And I will always appreciate that about him, because when he knew it would get him attacked by the mob uh, just for publicly saying we're friends, he didn't care. He didn't give a shit. And even when he knew it was against what, the big sewer turtle wanted, he didn't care. He saw something that was wrong. He saw the way I was attacked, knew what had happened, and was like, nope, that ain't right. Nope, police, listen, I have your back. And, we don't have to agree on a court case for me to have respect for someone who's always had my back. That's the bottom line. As me and Sean have a friendship that maybe people can't understand, and that's okay. He's like family to me. And our friendship doesn't revolve around the Karen Reed case because we don't agree on it. So we don't even really talk about it. We talk about everything else. How is his wife, and how's the weather, and how's my kids, and pretty much everything else on planet Earth except for the Karen Reed case, because we don't agree on it. We might touch on it here or there about like, oh, hey, what do you think is going to happen? Or, and we'll agree to disagree because he'll think something else than I do. But we don't really talk about that. We talk about other things, you know? I don't either. I don't either, but hey, he's got his opinion and I have mine. But I think, if people sort of got to listen to his time in the DEA and his time in law enforcement and how things sort of work and operate, I think it's great sort of insight for people who don't know or people who are curious. And Sean's got some great assignments that he did as a DEA agent. And I think it's interesting stuff. And it's sort of like having a conversation with a friend of mine, but all of you get to listen in. Really, some of the stuff obviously I've already talked to him about just in conversations, but I think if you take out of it that people don't like Sean for the fact that he reported on Proctor being fired, by the way, he was right. I had already known, was not publicly saying it because it wasn't public knowledge yet, and they had not publicly fired Mike yet. But I already knew, right? Sean obviously found out through his own sources somehow, some way, and did say it publicly. He was right the entire time, and immediately got attacked by the mob in the sewer turtle because the sewer tried to say he was lying, and he doesn't, because he didn't say that it happened, that it didn't happen. And nope, Sean used to be in a federal agency, so I'm sure he has all sorts of sources in all sorts of places that the sewer turtle does not. And also nobody trusts him because he gives up his sources like they're candy. I wouldn't trust the sewer turtle if I was a source. That's for damn sure. He does nothing to protect his sources. As a matter of fact, he brags about where they work. Oh, I got sources in the Moakley courthouse. Like, how dumb do you have to be to brag about where your sources work? Because not only are you basically giving them up, there's only so many people, right, that work in that office, but you're also making their employer look into who's giving out information, and now you're getting all the employees there are now being looked into to see who's leaking information to you. So you're blowing your source up by just saying where they work, which is just bad practice all around. Okay. Bad practice. So a lot of people didn't trust him because he blows up his sources. And so a lot of other people went to other people who don't just give their sources out on a platter. And I do everything to protect my sources. People are like, oh, if you're saying this happened, it didn't happen. You don't have receipts. It didn't happen. If you know that it happened, where's the receipt? And I'm just like, yeah, F you. You don't have to believe me. That's cool. But I'm not blowing up my source. I do not just put receipts out there unless I have permission from my source, because they have to be okay with me sharing it, right? I can share the information without sharing who the source is, but sharing certain things will lead to people knowing who the source is. And so that only gets shared if the source is all right with it. If they're not, and they don't ask me to, or they're not okay with it, it doesn't get shared. It's that simple. I have to protect people who come to me privately and anonymously. They trust me to make sure that I'm not going to out them to anyone. And anybody who's come to me knows that's not how I roll. Not even a little. I don't give a shit if 75 people say it didn't happen. All his minions tried to tell me that his court paperwork from New Jersey was fake. It's very much real. 100%. I got it straight from the victim who confirmed it the other day. It's amazing to me. Yeah, he sure was. She was mean to him too. Shitty person. She tried to control what everybody talked about and wrote. Even me, early on, was trying to control what I would or wouldn't talk about. She did not want the Higgins stuff out there. And for the longest time, and I didn't know about it, but guess who did? The sewer turtle did, and he hid it from people. And then when people started finding out about it, anybody who wrote anything about it or speculated on it, that got deleted. If it was in the group on Facebook, if it was anywhere, it got deleted. And because I started reporting on when they took Procter & Buchanan's DNA from them to make sure it wasn't on our car, to rule them out, and they did. Their DNA was not on the car. The FBI had taken that. So I think I reported on that, and I get these messages like, oh, she doesn't want you talking about that. Oh, well. It's not for her to decide what I'm going to talk about on my show. I have never had a subject of my stream, if it's a, defendant, an alleged murderer, an alleged kidnapper, I have never had them or their people try to say, hey, you can talk about this, but you can't talk about that, or control what I'm going to talk about. That was the first red flag, that something just wasn't right. Why does a murder defendant need to control what's being said from a small YouTube channel? That's weird. That's very strange. It should do the same thing with Sean and everyone else. So Some people allowed it. Some people were like, sure, no problem. We'll make sure that nobody knows that you hooked up with Higgins and had this relationship. We'll hide it until trial. No problem. Care. No problem. And they did. And they did. They knew the entire time and they lied to their audience because, and I quote, this is from Sewer Turtle. He literally said, we don't want to put things up here that make Karen look bad. Sir, like my response to that in the group at the time was, it's not about whether she looks bad or not. It's part of the story and it's happened. It's truth. So why would you be trying to control the truth or the narrative of the truth? If it's something that happened, it doesn't matter if it makes her look bad or not. It's the truth. So why would you be trying to bury something that is the truth? That's not journalism. Sorry, not sorry. That's not journalism if you're hiding pieces of the story because you know people will then start to think twice. And that was the thing was, well, people might start to think she did it if that comes out. So be it then. It's the truth. You know? Well, that's the other thing. There are a lot of people that do that. Make it more theatrical. They exaggerate. They try to make it more salacious when it's basic. Just like a basic motion or a basic thing. And they're like, I can't believe this. I've never seen such a thing. And it's like, yeah, you have. This is basic. It happens all the time. Things don't need to be theatrical and exaggerated and sensationalized. People just need to know the truth, right? They just need the facts. And the problem is we can't get those from mainstream media anymore. That's just the bottom line. And it doesn't matter what subject we're talking about. We are not getting the truth from the mainstream media. They're burying parts of things they don't want us to know, and they're going with the narrative. One channel's going for this narrative, the other channel's going for that narrative, and their stories don't match up, and we're just not getting the truth. And it's unfortunate, but that's why there are channels that like mine that exist that aren't mainstream media, obviously. So we don't have a boss that's going to tell us you can't put out this, and this. There's nobody to tell me what I can and what I can't talk about, and that I need to bury part of the truth because it might make the defendant look bad. No, I'm not doing that. Sorry, not sorry. Yeah, that was my response. It was a block and a go F yourself. That's what my response was. And that's a very fair point, Jesse. Sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Yep. There are people who just don't know how to deliver things without looking like an asshole or sounding like an asshole. Sometimes it's about your delivery, how you say it or how you do it. You know, I do the best that I can with making sure that I give you guys what I can give you. The amount of information that I sit on that I can't confirm by multiple sources is absurd. Okay. I might know something a year in advance, but if I cannot confirm it with more than one source material or source materials, then I don't say it because there's a possibility that it's just not true. So the amount of stuff that I just sit on, there's a lot. And most of the time, if there's a subject we're talking about, especially when it comes to this kind of stuff that's happening in the state I live in, you know, this is where I have the most sources, obviously. Most of the time, there's stuff I know that I just can't say at the moment until it's time, you know, and there's a time and there's a place for everything. You don't want to jeopardize any ongoing, you know, court cases when you're a creator. And just spew shit that isn't true, because then you could taint a jury pool, right? You want to give the information that you can give, but you also do not want to push a narrative. You just want to give the truth. Just give what the information is, okay? And if people can't handle the truth, well, and you know, Jack Nicholson can't handle the truth, I guess. I don't know. But you can report on something. You can even, you know, be an advocate for a specific subject without being an asshole. Right, Jesse? I mean, how they speak about people, what they do to people that don't agree with them or expose any bad behavior. It blows my ever-loving mind. You know? I appreciate you, my friend. Most people don't know, you know, all that I give and do. You do because you happen to be a friend of mine, but most people have no freaking idea the amount of time. A podcast is great, but you don't just press the button and go. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of different things you got to do to make sure that you're giving people the best and most up to date, accurate information that you can. And a lot of this is heavy shit to deal with. Especially some of these cases, the Brian Walsh case. That's a heavy, that's domestic violence, and he allegedly sliced up his wife's body, and they still can't find Oliver. It's heavy, heavy, heavy stuff. Um, Amy Bradley's brother Brad is doing a fantastic job of sort of trying to navigate this whole social media thing and get information out about Amy and trying to get people's eyes and ears listening about how to find his sister. And, I told Brad, he's more than welcome to use my platform anytime he needs it or needs my help. I'm more than happy to help in any way that I can, to try to help find Amy Bradley. And I think if you have not heard of Amy's case, I think it's something you absolutely should look into. There's a documentary on Netflix, I believe, about her case, and her brother Brad is on Twitter/X. You should follow him there for updates, and you should heed his warnings. There are certain journalists, that are reporting misinformation on Amy Bradley's case, and because they benefit from it, they wrote a book, they benefit from it, the whole thing. But if the family thinks that Amy can be found, and they think that there is pretty damn good evidence that she didn't jump overboard, that she was taken off that boat and possibly human trafficked, then we should be trying to dig and find any and all answers and help that family figure out what the hell happened to Amy and try to bring her home, right? And I know I'm just a little channel, but I at least hope that my viewers will do the bare minimum of, looking into the case and at least tweeting or Facebooking, over to Brad and showing support and saying like, hey, at least, the Twisted Tragedies community has your back, and anything you need, we are here for. Like I said, I spoke to Brad privately a couple times already, and, he knows. More than happy to help in anything that him or his family needs. I know what it's like to have somebody you love be missing for a very extended period of time. And what it's like to not have those answers. They still have not. Obviously, most of you know my friend Miguel's been missing for a very long time, almost 20 years. And we're just, the FBI's got I think $10,000 reward for information to bring him home. And to know what the hell happened to Mickey. His name was Miguel, but most of us who loved him, we call him Mickey. And those answers, like his mom deserves those answers. His kids deserve those answers. What happened to him? Why he's not here with us anymore? Why he has not been found? And the Bradleys deserve those same answers and to find their loved one. And it is not an easy road to walk, especially for an extended period of time like they have. It is hard as F because you think about it every day, every single day. My friend's mom has been missing since right before the pandemic in 2019. Where is Sandra? Where is Sandra Crispo? She had no cell phone. Her car was in the shop, and she just vanished from her house. A lot of sketchy things along the way. But where is she? She's vanished off the face of the earth. We've done searches for her as well as, they did. See, that's the thing, is they didn't give a lot of media attention to my friend Mickey. Why? Because A, he was male and he was Hispanic, And this was back in the early 2000s. And so if he wasn't, a female, or if he wasn't a white female, they weren't going to cover it. And the one coverage he gets every year is I forget the journalist's name, but I think it's Fox, I believe. They do like a Massachusetts missing every year around like Christmas time, and they highlight his case every year around Christmas time. My daughter's uncle, shall we call godfather, surrogate uncle, his cousin, Jennifer Faye, has been missing for over 20 since the 80s. So, I'm no stranger to what it feels like to deal with a missing person that you care about, and how the whole thing works. And I'll tell you, once they've been missing for a long time, the cops will not extend resources to you to keep looking or have them do searches. After the initial searches are over, you're lucky they'll ever help you again unless you find a piece of actual evidence with a search, unless you find like the shirt they were wearing or a shoe they were wearing. Yeah, Adam Montgomery is asking for a new trial, which I find hilarious. He doesn't deserve anything but the death penalty, in my opinion. He can rot in jail where he belongs. Adam Montgomery murdered his daughter, and Harmony deserved better. Right? Lori Daybell's son has been very outspoken about his mom. Also, the Kerry Rawson. She's the daughter of a serial killer, the BTK killer. And she has been such an amazing advocate, even trying to figure out if her dad had more victims or places he could hide things or bodies or trophies. Some of these people are extremely brave. Especially having someone like Carrie, who's the daughter of a serial killer. Most people just hide after, a parent is found to be a serial. They want to change their name. They want to hide. I think it was the cousin of Richard Ramirez recently did an interview. They made him come to parts of it. I watched some of it. And he wanted to not be there for sentencing, and they didn't allow that. I think some of the pre-trial he didn't have to be at, but he was at some of his trial, if not all of it. I don't know if he was at all of it. I didn't watch the whole entire thing. I got like the tidbit versions of the pieces that I missed. But he was at some of it. He asked to not be able to be there to skip the whole impact statements, and I watched those. He had to be there, I believe, for that. He's definitely not getting a new trial. He can cry all he wants. He's not getting a goddamn new trial. It's amazing to me how many of these killers are actually attempting to get new trials or get out. It's one thing if you're falsely accused, which is not, it happens. It obviously happens. It's another when you're very, clearly guilty, right? It's a whole nother thing when you're very clearly guilty. It's amazing to me that attempt it after all this time. Let's see. Let's see who else. There was someone else I recently saw. Well, Peterson. Drew Peterson. Screw him. Screw frickin' him. And then, yeah, the Gilgo Beach serial killer trial might not start until next year, they're saying. Alex Murdoch. Oh, Sarah Boone recording herself. Oh. crazy to me. Oh, I forgot about the guy that tried to kill Trump apparently was scolded by the judge during his opening statements on that trial. The guy's name is Ryan Ralph. Judge stops meandering trial argument from man accused of trying to kill Trump. Yeah, so, but Drew Peterson was seeking a new trial at one point, which is insane to me. And then Scott Peterson was seeking another trial. Alex Murdoch was seeking another trial. I mean, I don't know what they think they're getting out of another trial, because especially in some of these cases where the evidence is so freaking overwhelming that you could give them 75 trials and the result is probably going to be the same every single freaking time. It's a waste of money and resources. You know, do you know how hard it is to get a new trial, even when you have DNA evidence proving that you're innocent? Ask some of these people who have actually been exonerated how difficult it was to actually get a trial or a court to even look at it, even if you had evidence. There are so many people that can prove right now that they're innocent with DNA and other evidence that never get a new trial, ever. They get denied all the way up and never get a new trial. It's not meant for, the system's not meant for, innocent people who were wrongfully accused for it to be easy for them to get out. I think in my opinion, something needs to change where if there is DNA evidence or other evidence that shows that you could be innocent, that would give you a new trial, especially DNA, right? Because it shouldn't, if you have DNA proving that you weren't the perpetrator, you shouldn't spend years fighting to get a new trial to be denied that trial if you have literal DNA evidence proving that you could not possibly have been the perpetrator. I mean, that should warrant an automatic hearing to allow you to go back to court. And that's just not the way it works. It's just not, Yeah, so it was his dad and his pastor that convinced him to turn himself in, I guess. Somebody said his dad's a sheriff. I have not looked into that yet, so I have no freaking idea. But I mean, I'm surprised. I'm surprised. So I also have something here where the Denver DA, this is so crazy to me, right? So freaking crazy. Sharon sent this to me. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate you guys. And I always love when you guys send me some of this stuff because some of it's very interesting, number one. And number two, some of it is so damn shocking sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I need to dig into this a lot more, right? And get my sources on it. So this is an article, actually, and it's the Denver DA failed to turn over documents to defense attorneys in roughly 800 criminal cases. 800. Not 8, not 18, not even freaking 80. 800 cases, guys. 800. That's insane to me. Absolutely freaking bonkers. 800 cases? That's incompetence. That is straight up incompetence to withhold documents in 800 criminal cases. Now, I haven't read further in this, but I'm going to bet there's a good chunk of them are drug cases where they just wanted these people locked up and they didn't care if someone else was with the perpetrator, if you were in the car or they didn't like you or you were in recovery. I have far too many times seen someone who had been in recovery and sober for years be actually framed by the cops for a drug crime because they're so mad that they couldn't catch the person actively using drugs at the time that they were using drugs, that later on they actually set them up and make sure that they're arrested for it. And then no one believes them because they have a history of drug use. So no one actually believes they're innocent when they get screwed over by the cops or the DA's office, either one. And I've seen this happen in life, in real person, in practice. So, okay, the rest says Denver prosecutors failed to turn over police reports to defense attorneys in as many as 800 criminal cases, a potential violation of one of the bedrock rules of court procedure. 9 News investigates learned. Okay? Yeah, it is deplorable. A letter being sent to defense attorneys blamed the problem on, get ready for it, an automated file processing issue. I'm sorry. What? Stop it. That's straight incompetence. You're not going to blame it on oh, it didn't process it. And the computer. Would it be an excuse if defense counsel didn't hand over discovery and they said, oh, our bad, it was just a glitch by the computer? No. Why? Because there are people who are supposed to oversee this. They're supposed to make sure that every file that's supposed to be sent is sent. They're supposed to make sure every file that's supposed to be put on a USB drive and given is given. There is no excuse. None. Especially with 800 cases. That's not an oversight. That's incompetence. That's not a glitch. That's incompetence. That's on purpose. Okay? On purpose. Shame on you, Denver. So an automated file processing issue is what they blamed it on, which meant some documents given to prosecutors by Denver police were mistakenly routed to the wrong file. Withholding material from the defense, including paper records, can be a violation of what's known as discovery, as we know. For decades and decades, all states and the United States government have embraced the idea of full discovery, said attorney Scott Robinson, a 9 News legal analyst. No more trial by ambush. Here's the problem with that. And anybody who works in the field of the law knows this firsthand. The prosecutors hide shit all the fucking time. The state wants to win their case. To ask the state, in any case, to police itself and make sure that they give overall discovery is absurd. Because A, you're going to get prosecutors that do it, that do their job and they follow all the rules and they do it and they give all of the documents. But then you're going to have ADAs and DAs that do not, that play dirty, that are like, you know what? F you. How are you ever going to know if I handed it over or not? You're not. So I'm not gonna. And that's what happens. That's literally what happens. It blows my freaking mind that this in practice is the way it's supposed to work, which is, hey, state that's trying to lock my client up, we're going to need you to give us all the documents that are incriminating or don't go with your story. Like incriminating towards like you guys lying. Or who the is going to do that? It just never made sense, to me, for them to do that. Really, there needs to be a third party that has nothing to do with any of the court system at all, going over all documents and distributing them where they need to be distributed, period. Nobody who has any skin in the game at all. Denver District Attorney John Walsh declined a request for an on-camera interview, but said in a statement that his office was continuing intensive efforts to comply with our discovery responsibilities and to ensure that any and all discovery issues are addressed. Depending on what wasn't turned over, there could be ramifications ranging from the reopening of already adjudicated cases and even sanctions against prosecutors, which essentially do nothing. Let's get real. You can sanction the prosecutors all you want and give them a slap on the hand and does not guarantee that that will not happen again. Discovery violations can result in complete dismissal of criminal cases, Robinson said. A letter being sent to defense attorneys, a copy of which was obtained by 9 News investigates, said the error occurred when file names contain the hash character most commonly used in dates. So the slash mark. The software used to sort those records routed those documents to a file that prosecutors did not know existed and did not have access to. Does anybody effing believe that? They didn't have access to? Come on. According to the statement from Walsh's office, the problems began in 2022 and initially included documents from roughly 1,000 cases. 1,000. In some, a review found that documents that ended up in the wrong file actually were turned over or that they were not required to be. But it appears that in about 800 cases, some documents were not provided to the defense. Prosecutors are now going through records, turning over documents that weren't provided, and working to determine what effect, if any, the mistakes had on individual cases. That is something you should have been doing already from day one when you were doing the cases and making sure every file that was supposed to be turned over was turned over, period. Ridiculous. The key point when you review cases for discovery violations is the materiality, the importance of the information that was not provided, Robinson said. If it was exculpatory that is helpful to the defense specifically, it will absolutely result in some sort of sanction. Some of the cases involved have already been through court, while others are still pending. Robinson said it's possible people who pleaded guilty or were convicted after a trial could successfully argue to have their cases reopened if important evidence was withheld. Situations like this erode the public trust in the judicial system, and for good reason. Well, you think? Like, you think, guy? Come on now. It says, Robinson said, we really don't know how some of this evidence would fit in a given case. So every single case will have to be reviewed for materiality for how substantial the evidence is. Now, basically, he's trying to make light of the fact that we don't really know how some of this evidence would fit in any case. It's basically being like, some of it might not even matter. All of it matters. A small piece of information could be make or break for defense if a prosecutor is hiding it. And same, the defense is also being sneaky and hiding stuff in discovery that's supposed to go to the prosecutor that implicates their client or that goes towards their theory, and they hide that. That's a problem, right? Hence why they should not be in charge of handing over discovery to each other. They just shouldn't. There's too much room for self-serving bullshit for them to not turn it over. On both sides. On both sides. It just never made sense to me that that's the way, that it's supposed to operate. Because as we know, shit that, might have worked in the 80s or the 70s or the 60s are not working anymore. Haven't worked in a while. This is a different time, There were not cameras everywhere back then. Your computer was not listening to what you said and what products you mentioned anytime it's on. Same with your devices, your Alexas and your phones, and targeting ads, and a camera on every house and every dash cam and spy cams, nanny cams. There's so much crap. License plate readers, satellites. I mean, the list goes on and on of the ways that you can be surveilled in this country. And it's kind of scary. It's honestly kind of freaking scary. The technology that is used against American citizens by their own government. There's a guy who used to be in the CIA that talks a lot about this in different podcasts, who was a whistleblower. And I could listen to that guy talk pretty much all day. It's fascinating. But that's all the news I really have for you guys today. There was quite a few things to talk about, but that's pretty much all the stuff that I wanted to go over for today. Been here about 2 hours, and I am so hungry for lunch. I am probably going to go get something to eat before I get my little off the bus. Tomorrow is Saturday, so we're not here Saturday. I take Saturdays off for my own freaking sanity. But we do have the Sunday morning show, and this Sunday it's going to be at 11 o'clock. So everybody should be up and awake and have their coffee and, be ready for our fun day, a show. So I hope to see most of you. It'll be 9:30 Monday with the McDonough. Yep, Monday will be 9:30 with the McDonough. Sunday will be 11 a.m. It gives me time to sleep in a little, get my coffee together, and then, jump on here with all of you. So make sure that you keep an eye on YouTube and the comments and stuff, so that I, as I'm doing shows and having guests on and things, like, that's where you guys will get the update, is in like the sort of community tab there on YouTube, because And I always give the update in Discord too, but not all of you are in Discord. So I try to give the update there and on X. But yep, 11 for Sunday and then at 9:30 a.m. On Monday with the McDonough. So everybody try to enjoy it. It's a nice day out here in Massachusetts. It's actually nice. It's in the 70s, but it's not too hot. It's nice. I don't have to even have the air conditioners on. I just get good breezes coming in through the window and just the overhead fans in my house. So try to enjoy the rest of the day. I'm going to go eat my lunch and then I'm going to get my little there off the bus. But I love your stinking faces. If you on your way out, please give a like to the channel. We very much appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button. We appreciate that too. If you would like to donate to the channel, there's more than one way to do that. The best ways to do it are Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, these options, Revolut, or the link that we have pinned into the chat. It's also in the description of the video here on YouTube, but it's also pinned to the top of the chat. And then there's other options like getting yourself a membership to the channel, which if you have an iPhone, this little QR code in the corner here, Murder by Maestro made that for us as a workaround for those of you with iPhones who can't do it from your phone. People with Androids can get a membership on their phone right there, but for some reason, people with iPhones cannot. So if you just scan that, if you put me on your TV and you scan that with your phone, people with iPhones can now do it. That's your workaround. And then we have things like super stickers and super chats and all that fun stuff that always helps out. I appreciate y'all. If you decide to donate when we're not live anymore, I'll read it on Monday. I always say thank you because I think it's important for you guys to know like it's appreciated. And if you're on my replay crew, I'm sorry you missed us, but don't worry. I hope to see most of you Sunday if you're not working. And we'll have a good time. We'll have a great chat Sunday because it's Sunday Fun Day, and you never know what pops up on a Sunday. And Monday will be fun too. We can ask McDonough some fun stuff and see what he thinks about different topics. All right, I love y'all stinking. I'm working on those too. I'm working on the hoodies that say "I love your stinking faces" for the fall. So and a couple other things for fall like beanies and stuff. So I love your stinking faces, and I'll let you guys know when those are ready. Until the next time, I'll see y'all later. Bye.